Welcome to the Tournament Center. Randy Buehler here with Brian David Marshall. And we've just been out watching and actually participating in one of the staples of Worlds, one of the features every Saturday at every World Championships is people play testing for Sunday. Unlike a normal Pro Tour where, Saturday night you cut to the top 8 that have to show up Sunday morning and play, here you have an entire day to practice for that top 8 elimination round. And so the brain trusts come together, the teams get together, everybody brings in all their friends and proxies up the decks, and you start working on the quarterfinal matchup in the morning. And it's really interesting to watch as people really have a whole day with the deck list to digest this.
Right, it's kind of surprising. At a normal Pro Tour, Gabriel Nassif would not get to test Gabriel Nassif's quarterfinal or semifinal matchup. He's got to go to bed.
Yeah.
He's got to get a good night's sleep. He's got to wake up and...
Maybe his teammates test it overnight a little bit.
His teammates test for him.
Yeah.
And tell him what to do. They give him the sideboard strategy. They talk about how it works out. You have a whole day. You have 24 hours.
Yeah. And so not only is Gabriel Nassif playing against Roel van Heeswijk somewhere in, or somebody proxying up for Roel, so is everybody else.
Right.
Brian and I actually hopped on the Magic Online kiosk over there. We booted up the matchups and tried it out.
Right.
And, I like Gabe's chances.
I feel pretty good about Gabe advancing at least to the semifinals.
That's an interesting matchup. Gabe's got that Dragonstorm deck that we've talked about a bit. Van Heeswijk has got green-black. There's a bunch of green-black in this top 8, by the way. Quick summary of the top 8 is 5 green-black decks, 2 Dragonstorms, and a Mannequin. And so there's a lot of green-black. That's clearly the most powerful combination of cards, unless this Dragonstorm deck that not everybody knew about is. So we ran into the Dutch in line at Starbucks. They were talking about how they thought Roel had a good shot at it. He's got discard, he's got Thought Seize, he can bust up the combo deck, but that just wasn't the way it played out when Brian and I played it at all.
Yeah, I was on the green-black side of the matchup, and I Thought Seized a couple of, twice in the early turns.
Right. You busted up my early kills both times, but there was no pressure.
I had nothing. I was exerting no pressure on you whatsoever. You had that the hideaway land.
Yeah, I'm just like
something really good tucked under that.
Suddenly Bogart and Hellkite is just like, I just summon a dragon, and what do you do? Like, your guys are dead, now I have a 5/5 flyer. Just summoning Bogart and Hellkite seemed good enough to win the match. One Hellkite, and I have a second one, and it's a total blowout. And then you might get the combo, right? So the combo might survive a Thoughtseize. So I did not think Roel had a great shot in that matchup. I've gotten to see through the semifinals.
I do as well.
Now, we've got Chapin playing against Nakano. Chapin's also got the Dragonstorm deck. Here's another quarterfinal matchup. Which one is Nakano?
Nakano's playing an elf deck. He's got the Civic Wayfinders, the Perfect, the elves, the Master Admirers.
On the elf side rather than the rock side.
He also, I think, comes out a little quicker. While there's a little more card advantage, and the Heeswijk deck is a little more mid-range.
Right.
And I feel like
Nakano can apply some pressure with an elf.
He's got Renrun Vanquishers to come down very early. He's
got Perfect.
3/3 on turn 2. It becomes a 4/4 on turn 3. It really starts getting in there.
So a better shot, but he's only got the 3 Thoughtseizes. He's got a couple of Lilianas in the sideboard, but I'm not even sure these guys bring in Liliana in this matchup.
I brought in Liliana when we were testing against you.
Well, it's funny because when we were talking to some of the Dutch guys, they were saying they might leave Liliana in the sideboard because of the dodecapods that Pat and Gabe have. Nassif and Chapin both sport, I think it's a full suite of 4 dodecapods.
Yeah.
So do you want Liliana in that matchup? Do you even want to bring in extra discard?
I wanted to tutor for Thoughtseizes and...
Yeah, I mean, you tutored up Nath, and I was just like, kill it with Dragon.
Right.
So I was not impressed by Liliana. I mean, it's like you actually guessed right. I did not bring in the dodecapods because I thought you would take the advice we heard in the morning. So yeah, if you get Liliana, they don't have the dodecapods. I guess it's worth having. But so even with those sideboard cards, not what it takes to win this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think Nakano. I think Nakano could probably get Chapin to 5, maybe 3.
Right. And this is actually a very interesting contrast to what's going on in side events today. They're giving that car away tomorrow. We're giving that car away tomorrow. And a bunch of standard tournaments are going on. What are people playing? They're playing the Dragonstorm deck.
Well, I mean, some of them are, or they're playing decks that beat the Dragonstorm deck. We're seeing Thorns of Amethyst. We're seeing Burrington Forge Tenders. We're just seeing all sorts of disruption. We're seeing a lot of Gaddock Teague.
Yep.
Burrington Forge Tender, Gaddock Teague, pretty much a frowny face for the Dragonstorm deck.
So, I mean, the way the metagame works, over in side events, they've not only got this deck, but they've got the counters to this deck ready, right? That's the way the dance goes. Tomorrow, though, it's still what people committed to Thursday morning, and nobody was ready for this deck. Nobody showed up expecting this, and I think Chapin and Nassif meet in the semifinals. I think they play the mirror, and I think the winner's going to be world champion.
I do too.
Let's talk about the other side of the bracket. Christoph Huber versus Kutaro Otsuka. What do you think's going on there?
Huber's also playing I guess we can call it a rock deck.
Yeah, it's green-black. It's not the elves
Garrett
version.
Wildspeaker, the green Cryptic Command.
Sure. And Utsuka's, he's the one with Mannequin, right?
Utsuka's playing Mannequin, which was the breakout deck from Champs.
Absolutely.
That deck came out of Champs. It took that event by storm. It was one of the big decks in Krakow as well.
Right, yeah. Evoke creatures, trigger their 187 effects. They go to the graveyard, you Mannequin them back, trigger the 187 again. Shriek Maul is everywhere.
Right. No Grim Harvest in this version. Cryptic Command, Damnation.
So how do you think that pairs up against the Rock?
I believe Otsuka's going to win that match.
Okay.
Cryptic Command is just such a fantastic card. It's really good against the Planeswalkers. You play the Planeswalker, they counter your next play, they bounce your Planeswalker. They counter your Planeswalker, they bounce your big play.
Okay.
Again, he's got the Riftwind Cloud Skates, he's got the Muldrifters, the Shriek Maws, Phyrexian Ironfoot to hold down the ground.
Sure.
I really like the Mannequin deck here. I like the card advantage and the card
So
selection.
the other quarterfinal in that half of the bracket is Uri Peleg versus Katsuhiro Mori. Katsu's got green-black with more of the elf twist versus Uri, who's got green-black Doran the Siege Tower variety.
Sure. And it's the battle of the inexplicable one-ofs.
Okay.
We've got the inexplicable one Hypnotic Spectre in Uri Peleg's deck, and then the even more inexplicable one Miri the Cursed in Katsumori's deck. He just wanted the cat. He wanted to get a cat in there.
I guess.
His namesake, maybe.
Only 3 Tarmogoyfs, but room
Right.
for, yeah. It's interesting. So how does that play out? Doran or the elves?
I really like Doran the Siege Tower. I think this might be Doran's weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah. I could see Doran advancing out of that bracket.
Katsuhiro Mori, though, owns the World Championships.
He's such a sound player.
3 top 8s in a row, a win, a top 8, another top 8. I think Katsu's just proven himself to be such a good player. Close matchup, I would err on the side of the better player.
While the Miri does trump the Hypnotic Spectre in combat, I'm actually going to go with Uri on the upset.
All right, who do you think is going to be in the finals playing against Dragonstorm?
So that's our.
You've got Otsuka Peleg, I've got Otsuka Mori.
I'm going to say Otsuka. Again, I think Cryptic Command, just such a powerful card.
I think we're going to see Dragonstorm, the power of Dragonstorm versus the power of Japan. Japan's won 2 World Championships in a row. Dragonstorm could win 2 World Championships in a row. That's what Mahara won with last year. I think that's the final we're going to see.
And the question is, who will be piloting that Dragonstorm deck? Will it be the old school American,
right, or
the old school French player who has, once again shown us that he's one of the elite players in the history of this game?
Absolutely. If I was betting, I would be betting on Gabriel Nassif. I think he's one of the best players in the history of the game. I think he's got the best deck in the format. I think he's going to be your world champion.
If I was betting, I wouldn't be betting against you. So,
all right, Brian and I will be here all weekend. Tune into the webcast tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. You can find out how these matches play out and who's going to be the world champion. See you then.